It's People Station V103, the ATL's #1 for hip hop and R&B. I am your lifestyle specialist, Kenny Burns, and I have the pleasure of welcoming the writer, the director, the star of American Skin. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Nate Parker.
Thank you, brother. What's up, Atlanta?
Bro, first of all, I'd like to give you a round of applause for a brilliantly written and directed movie. And so timely because Americans in this skin are at a boiling point.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we've hit from what I see, is we're hitting a breaking point where the status quo is just not acceptable anymore. You know, as the late, great Dr. King said, we must be dissatisfied with our condition. We can't just continue to say, well, it's just the way it is. You know, our kids aren't safe, but it's just the way it is. I could walk outside tomorrow and it could be over, but that's just the way it is. I think that we are demanding something very different, and young people are leading that charge. So I'm just happy to add to the conversation.
Yo, brother, speaking of young people, your nephew, 16 years old, my wife and I, we sat down the night I DM'd you and literally had a 2-hour conversation after that started with how you capture the nuances of today in a super authentic way, even choosing to tell the story through a youthful lens, literally. Was that a part of your plan? Because my 16-year-old bought all the way into it.
It is critical. I made the film for your 16-year-old, inspired by his experience, and to encourage him to know that this future that we're looking at, hoping to change, is in his hands. You know, I'm 41. Right. You know, I ain't as young as I used to be. Right. But I think it's
still look good. You got the skin of a god.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take all of that. But you know, it's what we're seeing right now is the young people are standing in ways that we could only have dreamed of. They're using their platforms. They're using technology in ways that we didn't even have access to when we were their age. So when I made this film, you know, the young player Shane Paul McGee, who plays Jordan, I took him out to lunch. I said, listen, brother, like, Link is not the lead. He's a grieving father. You're the lead. You're the protagonist.
Right.
You're driving the narrative. And then you're taking it to the world. You know, just to put that on his shoulders to say that we shot this film in, you know, iPhones. We shot a GoPro, stick-up cam, dash cam, 5D, red cam, Alexa, just to get the energy of now. I don't think there should be, you know, there's no reason why we can't tell our stories. You know, the gatekeepers are gone. We got YouTube. Worst case, if American Skin, if they didn't want to put it out, I would have put it on YouTube for free. Why? Because we need it. I'm not tripping on all that other stuff. So to answer your question, you know, yes, it's for young people. It's a letter, a love letter, a wake-up call to my nephew, who I made the film for. You know, when I got custody of him to help my sister out, and he came here and realized very quickly that, you know, we had taken him out of the frying pan into the fire. Now he was in a community where he had to ride his bike through an affluent neighborhood to go to school. People didn't look like him on both sides of it. And he's like, you know, what do I do if I get pulled over by the police? And I'm like, call me. Well, don't call me. Don't grab your phone. But, you know, like, put your feet down slowly, slow down, put your hands up slowly, make eye contact with the officer, make sure he sees your humanity, tilt your head if you have to. It's like we traumatize our children just to exist, and we tell them it's okay. And then at the same time, we tell them that they're all powerful, they can do anything, you know, and it's about time, I think, that we have this conversation, but within the context of eradicating this idea of their safety being compromised.
Yo, wow, you said the gatekeepers are gone, and then you also said in the same sentence that we traumatize our kids just to exist. It's so true. And I have a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old, and, you know, they've been very fortunate. You know, after I mentioned to you that we had a 2-hour discussion, my 16-year-old, my wife and I, and he wanted to know all about my colorful past. And it was so ironic to see him at 16 and what I went through at 16. I had been to jail, not by design, by design, not by what I did, but being pulled over, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, so forth and so on. And it had been 4 times at 16. But I want to go here for a second. We have an Iraqi war veteran who's already seen the worst inhumans from being at war to come home hopefully leaving the worst behind him to only experience a level of tragedy heavier than any pain he'd ever known. In writing American Skin, how important was it for your character to be a veteran? I thought that was amazing, by the way.
Thank you. It was critical in my opinion. I come from I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, and I have uncles and aunts who have served. My grandfather served. My great grandfather served.
Military Circle. What's up to everybody from Military Circle, that area?
Military Circle. Oh,
Yeah.
757. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's home.
My uncle is from Norfolk as well. My uncle is a general in the Marines.
There you go. Very big Navy town. And when you talk about service, Virginia, where I come from, there are many people who have left this soil to foreign lands to fight for freedoms that they couldn't even enjoy here on the soil. So it was important to me to recognize not only that when we talk about veterans, it includes us, but our actions in many situations, when you talk about World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Harlem Hellfighters, Civil War, Revolutionary War, we're responsible for these very freedoms that people mention on a day-to-day basis. So it was important to me that I pay homage to the servicemen that look like us and the ones that don't, that go to fight for freedoms that many of us don't enjoy and come back and then have to, scrounge for pennies to be able to survive. And many oftentimes from post-traumatic stress, we see them on the sides of the roads, begging for money. I just wanted to really critique the situation that we have not only created, but we have found a way to pretend it doesn't exist. So it was a call out, a critique, and again, we have to have these hard conversations. Right? Like healing, true healing, only comes from honest confrontation.
The truth.
The truth.
We lied to ourselves so much
to
try and protect ourselves, not really realizing, no, we're just compartmentalizing. We're still carrying the baggage. And that character, bro, like the way, and I do think Jordan had a specific role in the narrative, but your passion, veteran, father, the circumstances, there were a lot of nuances, obviously, in your relationships with your wife and Amari Hardwick's character, and then the OG who later got shot in the shoulder. I'm not giving anything away, but it was just so many. He was so dynamic, your character. So.
Well, thank you. What I really wanted to do is, I asked myself, what happens if we put all these generations of broken promises and broken dreams in the same room, and they are able to interface with the very people who have, stripped them of their humanity institutionally, systemically, because I don't believe in this idea of blaming one person for the issues that are way bigger than that one person. And so you have generations, plural, represented from Lincoln's son to Lincoln in Omari's character to Michael Warren's character. You have relationships represented. The dependence he has on his wife or significant other.
Yes.
And how being a veteran and the post-traumatic stress he experienced from that affected him and his wife. Now they're not together because he couldn't break through the traumas that he experienced over there. So it's like you have all these things at play, and all of them, what they do is they set the stage for all of the conversations that need to happen. How many times have you talked to your wife about, fears around your kid? Man, are we gonna let him drive? Are we gonna let him get this license? Is he cool to go out by himself? Well, what time should we have him come home? Like, these are real conversations. So when you have
when we're gonna buy him a car, Nate, like we didn't even want him driving his own car by himself until he was older. Like, he's a freshman in college and he's just gonna get a car, obviously because he's 3.6 in Nate Dean's list first semester. Right. But you're right, brother. It gets to, it's not the angst us in our 40s went through growing up. We saw a lot more, just like our parents saw a lot more, and our grandparents saw a lot more. But you're right, brother. It's the psyche in which we receive trauma. Now, what we're not doing, like our parents did and our grandparents did, is transferring trauma on a high clip. Like, I think like in my family, and I can speak to my family, we were, you know, everything they went through was put on us. And even, you know, I remember making some bad choices in my teens. And my grandmother saying, well, baby, you need to go and work for FedEx and UPS and in 30 years. But that's all she knew.
That's all she knew.
And so generationally, when you talk about how you connected in writing this to different generations, it was clear. But I want to talk about one thing you said, and that's broken promises, because during the protests of 2020, I really thought what you wrote, and brilliantly, I might add, in American Skin, which is out now on every digital platform, was going to come true. I thought when we went to the streets like we did, when you saw, you know, Portland and how they occupied downtown and these things were happening, Nate, I'm like, yo, it's finally, and then obviously with the political landscape and how racial the tone became and how classist the tone became. I really felt what you guys did in the movie, what you wrote, and so eloquently brought to life was gonna happen, Nate. I really did. Is that part of your thinking in writing this?
Well, let's put it this way. I wrote this film in 2019. I mean, no, I wrote this film and shot the film in 2019. So this film was shot before George Floyd.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
you're a prophet.
If I'm a prophet, brother, we all prophets, because this is just history repeating itself.
Thanks.
How about this? I will guarantee you, we can put money on the table that in 2 years, we can have a Zoom just like this and have the exact same conversation about where we are now.
Right.
When that comes up. If we're not careful. Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's like, it is not okay that our only hope is in the gamble that it won't affect us.
Right.
That's a problem.
It is.
Our hope is not that it'll get better. Our hope is, I hope it doesn't happen to me.
Right.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
It's a problem when my nephew, who is now since grown up doing really well, what time is it here? It's 9:14 here, right? At noon, if I got a call from someone, 911, about Shaheem, I would be, of course, terrified, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, what happened? How do I? This is our every day. Yeah. So when people talk about how timely the film is, yeah, it's timely, but it was timely 10 years ago. Right. It was timely 10 years before that. It was timely 10 years before that. I mean, we're in the 100-year anniversary of Tulsa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where they literally killed so many of our brothers and sisters, looted all of their whole time. Why? Just because they were doing well. White supremacy is a real thing.
Real thing. You
know what I mean? We're not talking about some farce or something that's over there. It's in the air we're breathing.
Bro.
And guess what? You can't stuff your way out of it. You can't buy more stuff.
Right.
You can't, well, I'm living in the hills or I'm living here. It does not matter. You are one noise violation call from a Karen and the cops at your door from your life being in danger. I don't care who you are. And until we deal with that, right? Until we deal with that.
Dog, you said the word. Hey, Nate Dogg. You can't stuff your way out of it. Listen, that scene will be legendary for years to come. But you set up the alley-oop properly. You know, one thing that's so true about our people is we are a compassionate people. We are a forgiving people. And honestly, sometimes, like we just discussed, we choose to forget when we really can't forget because it stays in our spirits, right? But why that scenario? At the end, and you got what you needed from that scene. Why that scenario? And I say that because the all too familiar thing happens next, you know?
Yeah, but I will go even further to say this.
And you know what scene I'm talking about. Everybody might not know.
I'm going to give it away. That's why I'm choosing my words carefully.
Yeah, but I want people to go see it. That's why I'm asking the question.
When we see, think about this, brother. When we see films or even read books about other people, other communities, their genocides, what is the most important part of that representation? Truth.
Facts.
This is where we are right now for now. The conversation that happened inside that precinct didn't happen outside. We can have this conversation all day long. We can have a Zoom for 15 hours straight,
Right.
get in our car, get pulled over, and be killed, right? That is right now. So my job is to reflect the times. My job isn't to create a monolith out of Black people and make us, you know, executioner and like, that's not my job. My job is to say, look, this is where we are right now, folks, right now. We can have this conversation all day long, but until we bring it to the world, until we're honest about where we're at, then we'll be having this conversation a year from now. You get what I'm saying? So my job, look, this is not a film about creating the end-all solution. There's no magic bullet. There's no magic pill. You know what I mean? I'm not no hero. I'm just an artist that is doing literally what I said, what Nina Simone said, reflecting the times. 10 years from now, people look back, they'll say, damn, that's where we were. Then you know what they're going to ask next? What were you doing when that happened?
Right.
Kenny, what were you doing when they were killing people in the streets? You better have your receipts.
That's right.
You better have your receipts. Because I'm telling you, if we were around in 68 and our grandkids are like, you know, Grandpa Ken, Grandpa Nate, what were you doing?
Right.
Did you riot when they killed King? What were you doing?
Right.
Because that us just saying I was handling my business ain't enough.
It's not.
I was putting food on it. It's not enough.
It's not.
So I want other communities do so well is remind you of what they went through.
Facts.
Other communities, you'll hear them say, never forget. But then for us, we literally like, get over it. You saw that in the film. It is like a mantra. We're the only community that is fed that. So I'm not gonna pull no punches.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing. If you're unhappy with it, then what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
I'm just the messenger in this scenario.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I do. And let me say this, Nate. First of all, that's what makes us superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Our level and our ability to show compassion
Mm-hmm.
in that situation was so beautiful. And I'm going to tell you this. You not only did a masterful job, you know, executing that narrative in that moment as your character,
Mm-hmm.
but the characters you had around you,
Mm-hmm.
nuances. And I'm going to say this one thing, and it's not going to give the movie away, but I remember I was watching the dude that did the prisoner that didn't say nothing. The whole time you had thoughtful interaction from the Latino brown brother, from the woke Muslim brother. You know what I mean? You got these nuances from these characters, and it was one character, and I'm waiting for him just to say the most eloquent thing with the black eye or something to just knock me off my pivot. And exactly when I said it, Nate, he bust the move.
Mm-hmm.
But the gangster part of it, and when the movie turned for me, is when Omari's character grabbed the guy, got the gun, and just held it out. And for me, it clicked. I was like, this is a demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
This is about justice for real, not street justice, not vengeance.
Not fleeting. Not fleeting. What we're doing, Kenny, right now,
I love it.
we're trying to change the narrative for our children. Like, look, there's some stuff we could get off the phone and talk about some stuff we can do today, right now. Right? Over here. Then there's some stuff, long play. I'm just saying, let's think of the long play.
I loved it.
Let's think of the long play. You use the word compassion. I'm going to use the word humanity. Right? We know what it is to be a monster. Monsters have fed on our souls for years, centuries in this country. We're not monsters. We know what that looks like.
Facts.
Right? We march to breathe air and stay alive. Right? When we protest, and we see how others will riot, try to overthrow the government to uphold their whiteness, the value of their whiteness. Like, we're fighting so you don't kill our children. They fighting so white supremacy doesn't go away. Like, humanity, you know, you know, there is a faith element as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. You know what I mean? I do believe that we are, whether you call it compassion or empathy or humanity, at the end of the day, we got to answer someone too.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? We real talk, right? I mean, if we're going to keep it at 100, let's keep it 100, right? So it's like, what we want is justice. What we want is, I want your son to be able to ride around, and who cares think I care if a cop likes me or not? I'm not tripping on that. But when that dislike is infused with the power to take a gun out, shoot me, and know there will be no accountability,
yeah,
that's when we need to get involved.
exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not tripping on the KKK. I'm not tripping on them.
Right.
Whatever y'all at, whatever y'all doing. I'm more concerned with the fact how hard it is for our kids that look like us to get a decent education.
Right.
How many times we touch the justice system by the time we're 16?
Yeah.
Privilege is real. Entitlement is real. White supremacy and racism is real. As long as they're taboo words, we ain't gonna get shit. We ain't gonna get nothing. Excuse my language.
Yes.
We're not gonna get to where we want to go until we make the real challenge. And ask ourselves, well, how did private schools start? And is that cool?
Right.
Like, we'll talk about what's constitutional. Is it okay that we're in a pandemic and a lot of these schools where people look like us, the kids don't even have iPads to do school? The only computer in the house is being used by the mom to do work. So these kids aren't even able to go to school because they don't have access. Let's talk about redistribution of wealth. Like, there's so many things that need real confrontation, that truth needs to be spoken. Our ancestors have died for us to be able to have the conversation, be able to close the door. Brother, we haven't even had the ability to freaking convene for that long. It used to be illegal for us to talk. We would need a white person on the Zoom just to make sure we were above board with what we were saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So look, I'm passionate about it all, but it's like, I got 5 daughters, man, and I'm not okay. And my son, nephew, I'm not okay handing them this world with me just saying, oh, I made some bread. You know, I did some stuff. I got some stuff. Now I'm on my deathbed. But, you know, here's your trust fund. Forget all the people you left behind. You all right. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah, listen, Nate, you hit it on the head when you said our ancestors died, man. And I think, you know, when you talk about what have we done, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that our voices during this pandemic, because of these social opportunities, these platforms that have been created. I mean, there's a lot of bad to them, but these have been the good things, right? And even, you know, here in Atlanta, like getting, you know, Raphael Warnock elected and John Ossoff and going out here and really, you know, I don't know if you know about what I was doing, but I was going crazy. I'm surprised I didn't get fired. I was saying white people and I was saying white, not white. There's good white people, and there's those white people, you know.
I'm from Virginia. I know exactly.
And look, Nate, I was going crazy, but I felt compelled because there was a shift like never before. You know, Atlanta, Georgia is the home of the civil rights movement, and to see all of the history, to be a part of the history, it just it's mind blowing to see what we still have to connect, how we still have to connect. And your movie, I think, is a big piece of that puzzle. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. And, you know, I wanted to frame it different for people because the easy questions are, oh yeah, you and Amari and this, that, and the third. But bro, the writing, bro, like, and again, I wanted to ask that question because everybody wants to be militant in that moment. Like, we got the power, let that hammer go. And it's like, wait, no. Because at the end of the day, you have to see, one, what will happen to you still.
Right. What's the
all that you did? You not only changed his mind. Right. We're talking about, you know, the person who, whatever in the movie, who killed your son. It's in the previews. But you showed compassion. But then the lady spoke out on women's rights. You had the inmates see different. You had the jurors, you know, see that. You had Jordan, somebody who came from a well-to-do situation, really realized. And then too, I just want to go back a little bit, but the young lady who was on the camera, what was Sarah? Sarah went from "Why are we here?" to "We got to get this." Like, but that's how you engage people to get active, because you didn't give them an opportunity initially to be like, "I want to come." You're like, "This is a crash course in what we're going through. You're gonna see it firsthand." And bro, I just want to give you another round of applause for that, because that was genius.
Thank you, bro. I just, you know, I don't want anyone to be able to check out. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes things are so much in a vacuum that you got only these couple people got something. Everyone else is, all right, I'm out. Or I would have been like that person or that person. Just wanted to represent us all in a way that once we left, the conversation did not stop. We're still talking about it, right? When people, white people, when you got white friends, what can I do? You know how many white people called you and George Floyd? What can I do? You know what you can do? Watch this film and talk about it with your white friends. You know what? Go on your Facebook, scroll all the people that are spewing their racism, because you'd be surprised how many people you thought one way and think another way when it comes to our white, brothers and sisters, right? Talk to them about where we're at. Confront their racism. Deal with your own internalized white supremacy. Like all of this stuff. And the last thing I want to make sure I say this before we're out of here. We have to embrace young people. We have to. I am diametrically opposed to any rhetoric that shames them, disparages them for their internet habits or for their whatever. As a father of, like I said, 5 and 1, 6, call it 6, we have to embrace them because they got the power right now. They were born into technology, and technology is a wrecking ball. They can send a tweet and go around the world in an instant. They can send a tweet, it can go viral. They can do a song, have everyone doing the dance or whatever. What we need to do as elders now, because frankly, we're elders, is give them the tools they need, the culturally responsive education they need to use all these tools for our liberation.
Yes, brother, yes. And man, again, before we get out of here, I want to say, it was so beautifully uncomfortable to watch this movie. And I want to make, our white friends, our white brothers and sisters uncomfortable, because the problem is they don't make good white people don't make the white people feel uncomfortable. Because see, Obama, no matter how much policy he could or couldn't get through, no matter what he was the epitome of compassion and togetherness and humanity. And they were quiet for so long because he was not the rebel rouser. He was not that, and then you get a Donald Trump personality and it's like, wait, then like you said, it ignites the fire under the racist classist mentality. But things like your movie, American Skin, conversations like this put pressure, because the majority, I don't care if they keep saying half of the country voted. A lot of people voted because of money. That's class, not race. These races are like almost out of here. What'd you say about the gatekeepers? They're over. They're over. Go ahead and rant. Where were you? Like, and I always say this to my mentees in TKBS Nation. Where were y'all at all these Senate buildings and Capitol buildings? Y'all say he was going to run. That was a setup. So that's a whole nother Zoom call. But I think American Skin should be a curriculum, a thought starter for classes in colleges and universities. I think that American Skin should be a blueprint on understanding for the police, for inmates. Brother, listen, and whatever I could do, Nate, to help you with that, brother, I am all in, bro.
Well, I'm gonna get you the we're just finishing the discussion series. We have a discussion series we're about to put out. We have a curriculum that's being built right now, because again, when you start unpacking this stuff from the different perspectives, then healing can happen. You know what I mean? Like we screened the film for the Center for Police Equity, and they're open to using it for training. Obviously in our community, the things that we have to talk to our children about, the traumas we have to address, having discussion, these different entry points in the conversation is going to be very critical for us. Like for me, I make movies, but my art is a reflection of my activism, the things I want to see in the world, and I don't have all the answers, brother. I don't. I'm a writer, a producer, director, but that is just a function of wanting to get the word out and tell the stories. You know what I mean? I started my foundation, Nate Parker Foundation, which is simply about empowering Black youth to tell their stories through the cinematic arts. The more we're telling our stories unapologetically and being honest, in my opinion, the more we'll have these type of healing conversations that'll take us one step closer to where we need to be.
Yo, Nate, I did a post, man, and it's for you.
Okay.
Don't let me get it correct, because I have to say this to you, because you just mentioned that you're doing a little bit when you're actually doing a lot. When you dim your lights, you dim your blessings. Do not allow this moment to not like affect you the way that it's affecting people. This is big. You know what I'm saying? And you are a storyteller of our generation, of me and your, I'm in my 40s. So this is our generation. We are now the gatekeepers. We are the OGs. We are the ones, we have teenagers as kids, like we're the ones. And I just want to empower you, brother. You're using your superpower for good, but this is just the beginning. So keep going. Don't stop. The dream is real.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot, brother. It means a lot. I'm very blessed. I feel blessed to be arm in arm with you, brother. We're gonna get this done. We're gonna keep this train moving.
Yeah, keep going. Love to the family, man. And whenever you need a platform, the Kenny Burns Show is here for you, bro.
I appreciate you, brother. We'll do this a lot more. I have a feeling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God bless you, brother.
Love. Peace.